Okay, so this lesson today is going to be on order of operations. Get started. And then hopscotch is going to be a tool that we can use to remember the order of operations. So let's start with our TEK for today. This is a fifth grade math TEK, and it deals with algebraic reasoning and, most importantly, the use of the order of operations. So before we get started, let's go ahead and make sure we understand what is an operation. So there are going to be four different types of operations you can do with numbers. They are addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So we have done all four of these operations with numbers. So now today we are going to be dealing with problems that have more than one operation in the problem. So in the past, we have done problems like these, and each of these problems only have one operation in them. So the first one would be multiplication, the next to the operation is subtraction, and then we have addition, and then another multiplication. So all of these problems have one thing in common, and that is that they only have one operation. So what happens if we have this question? But what if we have a problem like this one? So this problem has three operations in it. There's addition, multiplication, and subtraction. So you ask me, well, what do I do with this problem? How do I solve it? So to start, what part should you calculate first? So in a problem with multiple operations, the order that you complete the operations is very important because if not, you could get the wrong answer. So we'll be hopscotch outside. So now today we are going to play in math, and hopefully you have the rest of your body. But let's learn our order of operations hopscotch. So this will help us remember what order to complete operations. So in order to solve a problem with multiple operations, we have to follow a certain order to get the right answer. So there's a warning with this. If you calculate in the wrong order, you will get the wrong answer. So if you add before you multiply and you do all this stuff and you do it in the wrong order, you're going to get the wrong answer. So let's go ahead and start with our problem. Oh, this is going to be our hopscotch board before we start with our problem. So the first square is going to be parentheses. So the first step when you're doing a problem with more than one operation is to look for parentheses, and you solve what is inside of the parentheses before you do anything else. So the next one you would solve would be exponents. That's the next step. And then multiplication, and then division is the fourth. Addition, and then subtraction. So always remember that when you're doing multiplication, division, and addition and subtraction, that you're moving from left to right. So if the addition comes before the subtraction, you would start with that, and we'll work with that in our next problems. But this would be your hopscotch board that would help you remember. So as you can see, it's kind of shaped like hopscotch. So now that we know this, so we know it goes parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction, we can start with our problem. So we'll go back to our problem. So we have 7 plus 6 times 5 minus 3. So first, we're going to solve parentheses. So 6 times 5 equals 30. Next, we'll look for exponents, and this problem doesn't have any. Next, we would solve multiplication, but we've already solved all of the multiplication in this problem. So next, we can look for division. There doesn't seem to be any division in this problem. So now, we would solve addition. So we already found out that 6 times 5 is 30. So we would replace 6 times 5 with 30, and then we would do 7 plus 30 minus 3 is 37 minus 3. And lastly, we would solve the subtraction. So you would get 37 minus 3 equals 34. Let's do another practice problem. Great job. So this one says 40 minus 6 plus 15 divided by 3 plus 6 times 2. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is our parentheses. Always start with the parentheses. So 15 divided by 3 is 5. So 40 minus 6 plus 5 plus 6 times 2. Next, we would solve multiplication. So our new problem would be 40 minus 6 plus 5 plus 12. So we replaced 15 divided by 3 with the 5, and then we replaced 6 times 2 with the 12. So now here's where it comes to do your addition and subtraction from left to right. So just like you're reading a normal sentence, this number sentence you would start with 40 minus 6, so you get 34 plus 5 plus 12. And then from here it would just be addition, 39 plus 12, and then our final answer is 51. Okay, so now here's more practice for you to do in your journals, and thank you for watching. Hopefully you learned a lot.